Assalamu alaikum. My name is Misbah. For part A, I'm going to describe and summarize the sample data for pill latte query A tablet produced in the month December 2020. So in this Excel sheet, we can see the weight, the relative density, the tensile strength, and the shift for all the sample data. After summarizing this data, we found the sample data is 200. And in this table, we have summarized the weight, the relative density, the tensile strength for all the 200 sample data. Here we have the sum, the mean, the maximum, the minimum, the standard deviation, and the variances for weights, relative density, and the tensile strength. In this Excel sheet, we have separated the sample data and took only the morning shifts. So from summarizing this morning shifts, we found that there is 67 total morning shifts. Uh, Here we have the weight, the relative density, the tensile strength for the morning shifts, the mean, maximum, minimum, standard deviation, and variance. Here we have the comparison between the weights, the minimum, the mean, and maximum, the relative density for morning shifts, minimum, the mean, and the maximum, and the tensile strength for morning shift. In this Excel sheet, we have only the evening shifts. So the total evening shift data is 77. So here we have the mean, the maximum, the minimum, the standard deviation, the variance for the evening shift weight, for the evening shift relative density, and the evening shift tensile strength. Here we have summarized. We have plotted the summarized data, the weight for the evening shift, mean, minimum, the mean, the maximum weight for the evening shift, the minimum, the mean, the maximum data for relative density, and here is the minimum, the mean, the maximum for the tensile strength for evening shift. The same way we have the night shift in this Excel sheet. So after summarizing the data, we found that there's 56 night shifts among the 200 sample data. In this table, we have the weight, the relative density, and the tensile strength analysis of the data, the mean, the maximum, the minimum, the total, the standard deviation, and the variance. Here, from the summarized data, we have the weight for the night shift, the minimum, the mean, and max. Here we have the relative density for the night shift, and here's the tensile strength for the night shift. In this Excel sheet, we have summarized the data for the weight for morning, evening, and night shift, the relative density, and the tensile strength for all the shifts. Here, in this graph, we can see the minimum weight comparison between all the shifts, and we can see the evening has the most. The evening shift has the most mean weight. In this graph, we have the mean relative density comparison for all the shifts. Here also we can see the evening shift has the highest number of mean relative density. In this graph, we have the mean tensile strength comparison for all the shifts. We can see here also the evening shift has the highest mean tensile strength for among all the shifts.
I will share about our company tablets, which is we take sample of 200 tablets and do some calculation to make sure that our tablets be normally distributed with 350 milligram with standard deviation of 14 milligram. This is the graph of our sample. This graph shows that around 330 to 350 milligram is the highest sample that we get, which is 89 samples. The second highest is around 350 to 370 milligram, which is 85 sample. In this graph also show that only one sample, which is around 390 to 410. This is the sample taken from the 200 tablets. Next, I will pass it to my friends and we will explain about the calculation. Thank you.
My name is Ahmad Zahid. So, from the previous calculation where we calculate the probability of each interval that will happen in this test, we need to compute the data in new table where start with the I column. In this value, we will put the value of range. After that, we fill in column OI, which is frequency that we get from the previous histogram graph. The next column is EI, which is expected value. This value can be obtained by using formula EI equal N, which is 200 in this question, multiplied with PI. Since the EI value on the bottom less than 5, we need to combine it with the previous EI. Therefore, OI also need to combine just like in the table shown. The total of OI and EI will be same, which is 200. For the last column, we will fill with formula the square of OI minus EI divided by EI, and after sum it all, the data we will label as chi-square. So next, before we want to test the value, we need to make hypothesis where the first the data follow the distribution HO, and secondly the alternative hypothesis H1, which is opposite to HO. Next, reference must be obtained to make conclusion or decision later. Finally, in this test, we conclude that weight distribution will follows normal distribution at up to 80% of significance level. So overall, there is significance evidence that darjat laku tablets produced in December 2020, regardless of shift, do follows normal distribution. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alicia from Group A. I'll be presenting on task C, which is to comment on whether there is any significance difference between tablet weight from the different shifts. So in this task, ANOVA test is used to solve the problem. So it is used to test the statistical differences among the means of two or more groups. So in this assignment, we have three groups, which is morning, evening, and night. So this is the format for ANOVA table. So to solve task C, we need to fill in and find all the values for degree of freedom, sum of squares of deviation, and mean sum of squares. So next, this is the table of data for group A. So first, we have to find the number of tablets and sum of weights from each of the shifts, which is the morning, evening, and night. And then we calculate the total number of tablets and the total sum of weights. So this data will be used to calculate all the values that we needed in the ANOVA table. So this is the calculation to determine all the values for the ANOVA table. And finally, this is a complete ANOVA table. Then we can see all the values for the sum of squares of deviation, the mean sum of squares, and the degree of freedom. So for the conclusion, the first step is to state the hypothesis statement. So as you can see, H0 states that there is no significance difference between the tablet weight, while H1 states that there is a significance difference between the tablet weight. So then we do our decision, which is to reject H0 if the F calculated is greater than the F when the significant level is 0.05. So therefore, it is found out that the f calculated is smaller than f at level of significance of 0.05, which is 3.041753. So to conclude, we are unable to reject hash not, so therefore there is no significance difference between tablet weight from the different shifts when the significant level is at 0.05. Thank you.
For this problem, we need to predict tensile strength from the relative strength given. We use simple linear regression model to find the estimate regression equation. We need to know linear relationship between a single dependent y and a single independent x. After that, we can estimate regression equation y equal to alpha plus beta x. We use method of least square to obtain alpha and beta. Beta known as gradient while the alpha is the interception point. In this problem, dependent variable y is tensile strength. Independent variable x is relative density. The information given to us is sum of x squared equal to 1550655.75. Sum of y squared equal to 10215.75. Sum of xy equal to 125850.07. Sum of x equal to 17605.9. Sum of y equal to 1428.9. N equal to 200. Mean of x equal to 88.0295. Mean for y equal to 7.1445. Sum of square xx equal to sum of x square minus sum of x square divided by n. So the value of sum of square xx is 817.1759. So sum of square of yy equal to sum of y square minus sum of y square divided by n equal to 6.97395. So sum of square xy equal to sum of square xy minus sum of x multiply sum of y divided by n equal to 641.71745. After that, we can estimate the linear regression equation for this problem. So for the beta, we can find by sum of square xy divided by sum of square xx equal to 0.079196469. So for the alpha equal to 0.1728741. So the estimate linear regression equation is y equal to 0.1728741 plus 0.07919649469x.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good evening. My name is Ahmad Shafi'i, and we'll be discussing about the previous equation, part D. The previous step, which is finding the equation, linear equation. So we'll continue. This is the continuation, which as you can see from the raw data that our lecture give was, we can construct a graph by using Excel. This the graph is tensile strength versus relative density. So next slide. So from the graph, it is obvious that the trend of predicted tensile strength, which is colored by red, has an increasing trend with the tensile strength, which is colored by blue. Hence, this shows that the linear equation below is valid. This equation is calculated from the previous part D. Then we test out the value of tensile strength from relative density gathered in December 2020. For example, we we take 68% and substitute in next, and we'll get the tensile strength for that relative density. So process is repeated with the relative density being 74.3% and 80.1%. And last but not least, we have the regression statistic, which can be obtained together with the graph from the Excel. Okay, so multiple R is the correlation coefficient of which gives the value of 0.855952, which shows that the tensile strength and relative density is proportional to each other with 95% confidence, which makes this the linear equation valid. And that's all from us. Thank you very much.